Today I'm going to show you how to save time in getting your deployments out there by using data macros. I've got 3 new examples of how a data macro can really benefit your deployments. So I'm going to go back to the original database that I used to show you the first data macro example. And that database is essentially the same except for one column. I added this description plus column here, and I plan to use it to show one of the items in the demo. Now, if we go to the table menu up here, if we look at the before change, here's our previous example here where we added a calculation to make sure that our retail price stayed in sync with our cost basis being 66% above our cost. That's still there, and we'll just add to it from here. So the next thing I want to do is build up that new field called description plus. And the way I'm going to do that then is to first add a comment to let whoever comes after me know what I'm actually doing. So I'm going to go ahead and grab that comment from a text file I've got just off the screen here. And that comment is going to be create a description plus field for use on various web pages. And then the next thing is going to be a set field action. In other words, I'm going to set the value in that new field. And the name of the field has to be identified here. And it is description plus. There we go. And the value that I'm going to put in that field now is going to be a concatenation of 3 different text fields. And so in order to do that, I'm going to use the ampersand sign, and I'm actually going to put a space in between each of those fields. Here I'm going to take the color, I'm going to put a space in between, and then the model year, and then a space, and then the description. So the description usually has the make and model, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to say the color of this year, make, and model. And I'm going to put those together so that I don't have to do that on the fly in a query or a report later. Just simplifies the process of development later on and gives me a little bit of consistency. Okay, so that one is done. The next example I want to show is how we can actually fill a blank field with a value so that the user knows that they need to fill it in. In other words, we can't, with a data macro, communicate with the user at all. I can't send a message to them. I can't put a message box up. I can't throw an error message. All I can do is work with the data in the table. So what I want to do is actually put a message in that field that, hey, you forgot me. You need to fill me in, that kind of a message. And so the thing I'm going to do here, I'm going to pull a comment over here first so I can let the world know what I'm doing. I'm going to add comment to description field to a blank description field. So I want to know if it's going to be blank first. So I'm going to check with an if-then statement first to see if it's blank. So I'm going to pull an if statement over here. And the if condition is going to be if my description field is null. So I'm going to go grab my description field, and I'm going to say is null, and I'll tab out of that. So my action then, if it is null, is going to be to set a field. And the name of the field that I'm going to set, of course, is description. And the value I want to put in there is, hey dummy, you forgot to fill me in. Now I'll be a little nicer than that. Please provide description, and a quote, double quote at the end. Be sure to use double quotes. If you use a single quote, it'll just put a little error diamond right next to it and won't let you save it at that point. Now, if I click out of it, you'll notice that it added the end if statement. So here, literally, I've said, hey, if the description's null, then I want to set the field. So hopefully, the description will never be null, because they'll at least have please provide a description in there, and they'll see that error message. Maybe they can run a query later that looks for any field that says please provide description, exclamation point, and see that they missed some descriptions there. So those are all the things that I wanted to do in my before change data macro here. So I'm going to close that. I'm going to save it. And I want to go here now, and I want to do an after insert. So I'm going to check for conditions for only when I'm inserting. And when I'm inserting a new record, I want to put a data record in an activity log that lets the user know that I have added a record. So the next thing is going to be is a create record. So over here, create record data block. I'm going to pull that over. I'm going to create a record in a table, and if I type T, there's table product activity log. I could have hit the drop down list here and you see all those listed. The action I want to complete then is a set field action, and the name of the field I want to set, if I hit T for table, in the product activity log, I want to set the product activity field. And this field is which activity am I doing? Well, at this point, I'm handling my insert activities. And so that'll be an insert record. And that one is done. So I'm going to add another set field here. And I'm going to then hit table product activity log dot, and I want to add the product ID to that. And the value is going to be table products. Okay, and the field there is going to be product ID. That's down here at the bottom. Okay, and the next action I want to do is another set field action. Sometimes if you click outside here, you get the next action that's equal with this level. And so you got to remember to click back in here to get the next action to continue under this create record action. And so I'm going to table activity log, and the next activity I want to add is the product description. So I'm going to go dot here, product description, and the value here is going to be under my table products after insert, and dot, I'm going to look for the product description. There it is. Okay, so now I've added all of the items that I want to do. I'm going to hit the save button, and the set field macro is invalid for the value argument. Okay, here's where sometimes you get an error, and I'm wondering where the error is because it's not telling me where the error is, but this time it allowed me to save it. Okay, so it was an error that didn't matter. And so I'm going to go ahead and close this. Now, how do I test it? Let's start testing it by going over here and changing this price. We're going to put this price to $29.99 instead of $30. And so I'm going to tab out of it, go to the next record, and make sure it saves. And I'm going to go check over here. Ah, it worked. My description plus was added. And so that took care of that issue. So let's go down here and look at the insert action. And I'm going to insert a forward. No, I'm going to escape out of that. I am going to go over here and deliberately not put in the value over in the other field, and add a Ford Fusion. It's going to be a 1/18th model, and it's going to be in the cars category. Okay, the price will be $29.99. Oops, I don't want a $2,999 for a model. Oh my. And I'm going to tab out of it, and I'm come over here. Oh, please provide description. So that part of it worked. And I'll put my Ford Fusion description there. And now I get a 2015 Ford Fusion. I forgot to fill in the color here. So it's a gold Ford Fusion. When I tab out of that, it adds the gold to that. And notice how as I add more data, it continues to update the other fields based on that macro. So all the macros fire off, they do their thing, and away we go to the next record. So there's a quick update on how to add 3 different data macros to your data macro acumen and knowledge. If you liked what you saw here, please hit the like button and please subscribe to the channel so we can grow it and provide more good content for everyone. Thanks.